Okay, friends, so the past couple days we've been working on fractions, on adding fractions and subtracting fractions. Now we're going to switch gears into decimals, but I want to show you the relationship between decimals and fractions. So I'm going to use our lovely base 10 charts. So remember, these are hundreds. This represents hundreds. There's 10 columns and 10 rows. So there's 100 of these boxes. And then in the orange, I shaded what I wanted, okay? So to represent these as a fraction, I first count the squares. So if I know that in total there's 100, well then I know my bottom number is going to be 100, working with hundredths. And then I know if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 14 are shaded out of these hundreds. So 14 hundredths would be our fraction. So converting this or switching it to a decimal, remember decimal, we don't have any whole numbers, so we start with a 0 and then our decimal point, 0 decimal point, and then I just plug in this number. 14, 1, 4, because we're working with hundredths, so I know how far I need to go is in the hundredths spot. The 1 is in the tenths spot. That 4 is in the hundredths spot because it's 14 hundredths. So 14 hundredths, 14 hundredths. They mean the same thing, but this is written as fraction. This is a decimal. Let's look at this one. Again, we've got 100, so I know my denominator is going to be 100. And then I know that one row of these are 10. The next row would be a 20. 10 plus 10 is 20. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 27 are colored, so 27 hundredths. Same thing, I don't have any whole numbers, so I write a big 0. My decimal point, 2, 7 for my 27 hundredths. This one looks a little bit different. Again, working with the hundredths. And now I've just got all rows, all columns filled out. And let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. I know there's 10 in each, so that would mean 40. 40 hundredths are colored. Or if I remember that these are tenths, I can say that there's 4 tenths. There's 4 of the rods, the 10 rods, right? They mean this is equivalent fractions right here. 40 hundredths, meaning that we just count the individual cubes. Or if we want to count the rods, 4 tenths, they mean the same thing. So our decimal, we can write it 2 different ways as well. We can do the 0 decimal 40 for the 40 hundredths. And guess what? We can just write it with the 4. We don't even need to add the 0 to do the 4 tenths. They mean the exact same thing. Okay, even though they look a little bit different, they mean the same thing, meaning that they're equivalent. Okay, so remember this is how we write it as a fraction and flip it over to a decimal using these 100 charts base 10 models that you will use for your activity next.